velkommen til den første talk her i dag. Og det er Robert, som vil fortælle om wargaming og kapring af flag.
Yes. First things first. Any non-Danish speakers? None? Så tager den på dansk. Woohoo! Yes. Min største hobby, det er at bryde ind i computere på en lovlig måde.
Yes, there are non-Danish people, yes.
I'll switch to English. You thought you could. Okay. My biggest hobby is breaking into computers, and I think yours should be too. So this is what this is going to be, an introduction where to go to do it legally. This is me. A lot of things in Danish. Have been working since 15 years ago. First programming mobile phones. Since then, doing lots of programming and back-end development. I'm a member of the Galopslet, Danish hacking team that does the Pwn Tools hacking framework. And I've been doing some binary hacking workshops for Prosa and IDA. And as a final test for those, I'm doing a CTF this night, this weekend. Started here at 8 o'clock, so it's running this moment. More about that later. But first, what hacker challenges are out there? There are two types, the war game and the CTF. And the difference between them is that the CTF is usually a time-spanned challenge. So begins at Friday, ends Sunday, or something like that. A war game continues running. The first war game I will be talking about is Over the Wire. It's not actually a war game, it's a series of war games. Looks something like this. It's a web page. There are different war games. This is the Bandit game, which is mostly about learning to use Linux command line. So challenges will be like, find a file named something something somewhere in the file system and read it. You'll get access to level 1, a user on the system, and get the goal. This is the level 6. To get to level 7, you need to find the password, which is stored in a file somewhere on the server and has the following properties. Owned by user Bandit 7, owned by group Bandit 6, 33 bytes in size. And how to solve this? You may need to use ls, cd, cat, like, find and grep. So pretty easy challenge if you know Linux command line. If you don't, it's a little harder. Could you scroll down a bit? It's not... yeah. As I said, there are many war games in there. Narnia is another one. It's about buffer overflows and format strings. It's getting more complicated, but there are way tougher challenges out there. These are beginners buffer overflows challenges. And that's the Natas war game about web security, and a lot of others. There are crypto and a lot of stuff. Go there if you are a complete beginner. Vollenhub is another wargame site. In there you download a VirtualBox virtual machine. Each machine has another challenge, a goal. You need for this one to get root and read a flag file. Usually you get to some starting point, a web page, and that web page has some bug in it that gives you local command line or something like that. And from there you can get higher and higher privileges, and in the end get root or whatever the challenge is. These are uploaded by users, so the quality is ranging from really bad to really, really good. So but there are walkthroughs. You can see this button here. If you solve a challenge, you can do a write-up on your blog and submit it to their servers. They will add it. So if you get stuck in a challenge, you can read other people's walkthroughs. What did they do? And usually you'll learn some new stuff. Also, if you do manage to solve it, read how other people have done it. Maybe you can pick up a trick or two. Smash the Stack is kind of the original war game. It's very old, and it works kind of like the Bandit over the wire thing. You log in, you get access as the login level 1 user. You get his password. It's level 1, and level 1 user can only execute this program. All the others are owned by users that are not you. So you can execute this. It's owned by the level 2 user, and when you execute this program, you will be the level 2 user for that process. So if that process has a bug in it, and it has, you can probably read this user's password and re-log in as level 2, and you will be able to execute this one and get level 3, and so on. There are many different challenges here. Reversing challenges, there are exploitation, buffer overflows, heap overflows, SQL injections. There are cryptographic. You need to do a MD5 collision at one point. Actually write 2 brainfuck programs that need to output 2 different things but have the same MD5 sum. That one was really interesting. Not that difficult though, but maybe that's just me. Really worth the effort, and everyone in the hacking community has done this for at least the first 10 levels, so you'll have someone to talk to. If you're into micro machines and microcontrollers, this is the site. It runs at, how do you say? It runs a virtual machine running a DSP-43 something microcontroller, a Texas Instrument controller. And each level is a binary, is an electronic lock you need to unlock somehow. You get a disassembly, you get a memory dump and register states and a debugging console. The first level they walk you through, so you will get to know how to read the assembly, how to interact with the debugger, and they will guide you to the end. I think the first level you had to choose you could enter an 8-character password. Any password, as long as it was 8 characters long, would open the lock. Later challenges were much harder. Ponies is another name for Galopslet, so this is our site. Very big picture. Okay. Many different types of challenges. You need to collect gold and submit it as proof that you have found this gold. And you can find gold in HTTP headers, in the source code, and in the file system if you break into some challenge. Also, there are cryptographic, there are simple questionnaires you need to answer. Who was behind some break-in? The NSA. Okay. Many different levels, and ranging from very easy to extremely hard. Many of these I have started a couple of years ago and take them up sometime and just give up and do a little further next month or something. So that's one challenge I've been spending the last 3 years on and still not really solved it. So maybe I'm just not good enough. Pwnable is the new kid on the block. It's from Korea, and it's pretty slow. Their machines are on the other side of the globe. But they are very good challenges. Divided into 3 categories. The toddler's bottle should be the easy one, and they are easier than the next, but they're not really easy. So, but they're extremely fun. This one, in particular, I think was entertainment. It's a blackjack game they found somewhere on the internet. They link to a page where noob programmers post their code and say, "Hey, look how great I am," and it was riddled with bugs. And you need to get the first $1 million. When you have that, you have solved the game. You start with $500, I think, and you can somehow cheat the game and quite fast get $1 million. Quite something the same with Lotto and many good challenges, and the later ones really nasty. That's not really bad. Yeah. Getting to CTFs, the time span challenges. There are 2 types, that one and that one, and a third that combines the 2, and then there's a 4th that I can't really put in a group. The Jeopardy style, could you scroll down a bit?
Sorry?
Yes. Just like Jeopardy on TV, there are some challenges in different categories and different levels. This is binary. It's some sort of program you probably need to reverse engineer and find out what it does. Crypto, obviously about cryptography or hashing. Forensics is usually find some information in some file, in some format, encrypted by some algorithm, by some key. So it's guesswork. We call it guessforensics, and our team sucks at this. We are much better at this one and this one. Pwnables is having a binary program, finding a bug in it, exploiting that bug, and get rich. Networking, usually getting a network dump and having to find some key in it. And web, of course, SQL injections all the way, more or less. There can be other categories, but these are pretty standard. One thing, the teams have no contact with each other, so we just download this file, find out what does it do, what shall we do with it, and we have no contact with the other teams. So usually there are thousands of teams in the big CTFs. The other type is attack defense. Could you scroll down again? This is a picture from DEF CON, the biggest and most prestigious CTF in the world. It's not a place you get rich. There are other CTFs for that. But if you win this, you will be the Hacker Guard of the Year. Each team will get a VM, or sometimes a physical server. Each server is installed with some vulnerable services that the team needs to keep running, or they will lose points. These vulnerable servers obviously has vulnerabilities in them. You need to find these vulnerabilities in your own server, patch them, patch the binary, rewrite the assembly or something, and exploit the other teams, steal a flag from their server and submit it to the score server so they know you have stolen a flag from team that guy. This is a quite stressful CTF. In the Jeopardy style, you can come and go as you please. No one will beat at you, At this one, if you go away for an hour, your server will likely be pwned and not responding to your commands. So this is for more seasoned CTFers. The other one is more for beginners. They're all fun. Of course, a third type is the combination. I've held a couple of CTFs for Prosa that was attack defense and Jeopardy style. So that's a third type. This is the Cyber Grand Challenge from DARPA. They have had previous grand challenges, like the autonomous car was a challenge some years ago. This year, the Cyber Grand Challenge was these 8 servers, supercomputers. The team would be allowed to install software on it, and then it was air-gapped from everyone. Then vulnerable services are installed on these, and the autonomous programs will have to find these services, find vulnerabilities in them, patch them, and exploit the other servers. And no user interaction whatsoever. These are scoreboards. They are not connected to these machines because they are air-gapped. We get data from these machines by a robot writing a disk, moving it from the air-gapped room out of the room and placing it in another server that is not connected to these servers, and writes the score. So once the teams had installed, they could just sit back and do nothing and watch the game play. Very, very interesting.
How long do they prepare the programs they install?
I think the challenge was announced last year only. Anyway, go to YouTube and search for Cyber Grand Challenge. You'll see some pretty interesting videos. Also, the team called Shellfish, their autonomous auto-exploit framework is on GitHub now, so go read it. Or don't. It's clearly research, and it's not documented, and it looks like research, so you'll probably be insane if you try to read it. And then this type of style, I don't know what to call. There was a CTF called Ghost in the Shell Code, a standard Jeopardy style, but it has this challenge. They write a third-person, first-person 3D game where you have some challenges. You need to find this thing and kill this guy and do stuff like in a normal game. But all the challenges are impossible to solve unless you cheat. So if you scroll down a bit again, you need to write aimbots and wall hacks and infinite jump and infinite energy, get ammo. You need to read the assembly to find out how to kill one of the characters. There was a large boss, a fire demon or something. You could throw fire at him. That would increase his energy. If you shoot ice at him, it will slowly kill him. When he reaches 25% in damage, health, he will heal himself with 75% points, getting up to 100 again. And you can't kill him that way. What you can do, we find out, his energy was stored in a signed byte, which goes to plus 127. So you had to kill him slowly, and then when he starts healing, you should put more energy on him by throwing fire grenades on him. So that when he heals his 75%, he will go up to 128, which is negative, and he's dead. So love him to death. That's the key in that one particular challenge. Very interesting. This is the place to go if you want to play CTFs. It's a calendar, and you can see this one is going from the. Actually, this one is going on right now. It's a Jeopardy style, but you can't see it. But you will have to go to Shanghai to play it. Other games are on the internet, so you can play from anywhere. Mm-hmm. Woo! Thank you. Which brings me to Procida CTF, a combination of Prosa and IDA. I've been giving some binary hacking workshops, 4 nights. The first was an intro night, followed by reverse engineering, binary exploitation, and shell coding. The binary exploitation is a very large subject, so we only covered stack-based overflows, but in depth. And shell coding is writing assembly that you can inject into another process and via exploitation have that code executed. So these are the 3 categories, one for each of the categories I covered in the workshop, and this is how the game looks. 4 challenges in each category and 1 covering them all. These are easy, these are harder, and slightly harder. This one is very hard, I hope. For the pwnable, you need to write an exploit. You won't need to reverse engineer. You get the C code, because this is the subject for this is exploitation, not reverse engineering. So you get the C code and can find the bug. You also get the binary so that you know how it's compiled. And it's running on a server owned by Prosa. The reverse engineering is only about reverse engineering, so you get a binary, and once you know how that is working, you more or less have solved the problem. You will need to write a program that talks to this service somehow and read the flag. But that should be quite easy once you know how the program is working. The shellcode thing, you also get the binary, but you probably won't need to reverse it, because you get some information about how the flag is stored in memory, and you get a pointer to something that you can traverse. Tree hugger, it's a tree. But you will need to write the assembly and read the flag somehow. This one, you get a binary and nothing else. So you will need to reverse it, find a bug, exploit that, and write some shellcode for getting the flag. And that is about it. It's going on right now. Started here at 8 o'clock. And it was for the workshop, which was for beginners. So they are quite easy problems once you know how to do stack-based overflows, once you know how to reverse engineer and read assembly, and once you know how to write shellcode. So you don't have to be super ninja hacker to do this. Of course, you will need some tools. This exploitation framework is the one we are working on and we use for everything. It's quite good. You will need a disassembler. These are the ones I use regularly. IDA Pro is the king of them all, but it's extremely expensive. You can, however, get a demo version that will work with the binaries in Procida CTF. It only works with the 32-bit Intel binaries, which are what I'm using. Hopper is much cheaper, can do most of the same things that IDA do, but looks not as nice. But you can use it for all the same things. Binary Ninja is an upcoming tool. It doesn't have all the same cool things that IDA and Hopper has, but I think it will be topping them in the next few years. Radar is a free tool, open source and everything. However, its learning curve is steeper than Vim. So it's not a beginner's tool. You'll need to spend the first month learning how to use it. I didn't bother. Plasma is quite an interesting tool. It's a simple disassembler, but it tries somehow to decompile the source. So it shows the disassembly, but with ifs and whiles and assignments instead of moves. So it's nicer to read, in my opinion. Questions? I don't have a whole lot more. I'll be running around this camp entire weekend, so find me and talk to me. I love talking about CTFs. And if you want to play, go to this address and play. And if you get stuck, come see me. Maybe I can throw a hint. Questions now? Thank you. Yes. Yes.
There are some. Thanks. There are some challenges, servers and stuff where you need to break into a running server somewhere on the internet.
Yes.
Which category would you place that in, or is that in a category of its own?
That's usually what Jeopardy-style CTFs are about. The pwnable section. You get a binary with some vulnerability, and you get told, at this address, at this port, this thing is running, and read the flag from the file called flag. That's usually how it works. So that's Jeopardy style, but that's also true for the attack defense. You also get all the binaries and can attack other teams, but usually you'll have to be on a VPN or at some location, like the DEF CON. Yes. Other questions?
If you should give some good advice to someone who is around a lot of young people going into this kind of thing, and how to help them, guide them, help them without knowing anything yourself,
Yes.
how would you approach that?
Stay away from binary at the beginning. Those are very much harder than web-based exploitation. There are some tools, one called WebGoat, which is a Tomcat server filled with vulnerabilities and advice on how to solve them. And if you give up, it will show you how to solve it.
Okay.
So that's a good way into web-based exploitation.
Thank you.
Was another one? Nope.
No more questions? Okay. Thank you. And on behalf of Summerhack, a little present.
Excellent. Thank you.
And our next speaker will be around at 21 hours, 15 minutes.